So I'm back. All right. So, like I said, today we're going to have a couple of chats, and some of the chats are primarily going to be about, what we're doing and, what you guys' is next step. Okay. And again, this is not just for us. Um, we try to, we try to, make changes to what we're doing. We try to make changes in, doing something else as far as our career. Um, I wouldn't be afraid to change careers, and even if you're a stay-at-home mom, that's still a career. I mean, you have to literally learn how to be a stay-at-home mom, and you still have to put yourself in coordinated order. Coding can be the thing for you. Okay, um, like I said, this is something you learn and work at home. The classes are free. Okay, the classes are free on YouTube. You guys already know that. Um, are there more in-depth classes, Miss Lambert? Yeah, but they're not on YouTube. Okay, they're in the Sapphire Academy. So, and I made the academy to suit teams because a lot of us use teams at work. And those of you who have never used Teams before, I have a chat in there on Teams, and I pretty much go through what the chats go through in the chats, how to maneuver through my portal. No, I'm not going to pull the portal up. That's for the next class. Um, this chat that's right here now is really just an RCM. We kind of just chatting. The other one was the same thing. It was pretty much letting you know that I'm out of town. This one, we're talking about coding. Make sure that you guys have your books for the coding classes. The classes on YouTube are free. The Sapphire Academy has different classes. You have different information in the Sapphire Academy. Um, in there, we have the one-on-ones. You get to discuss things with me one-on-one. Maybe you want to talk about Miss Lambert. Which way should I go? Miss Lambert, should I do billing or should I do coding? Miss Lambert, how do I do my setup to work at home? Um, how do I make my coding into a business for me? Ms. Lambert, can you tell me how to go out and recruit providers if I choose to do this as a business for myself? Do you guys know how powerful it is to have your own business? We're like different entities. We have business credits. You can buy a house with business credit. You can buy a car with business credit. You can get Apple accounts with business credit. It's a whole different type of entity. Some of my students, they want to go forward. They want to do the credit. They want to do the billing and coding and take it to a higher level. Of course you can. Uh, like I said, I'm out of town right now. And guess what? I still can work. I'm still working as I am out of town. Okay, so that's the reason why I'm out of town. I'm working, but I can do pleasure as well because I have my own business. I do my own schedules. If one of y'all are in the academy, she will tell me who is in the academy and I pop in there. Okay. If it's not on a class night or not on a live or not a video that we're doing in the academy, I know who's in there. So when you guys do register for the Sapphire Academy, it's not, I have it choreographed like an online school, but I give you more attention than an online school. When you go online school, you get to discussion board with the instructor while you guys are in discussion board class. And you can't talk to the instructor. You can talk to me. You and I do teams one-on-one, and when you are in the Sapphire portal, we actually talk. I put you on the teams and we talk, and you show me your books. You ask me, which route you want to go. Sometimes coding can be scary, but it is not, because we start from the beginning. We start from the beginning to the end. You guys check out some of those codes. I put some quiz up there for you guys last night to kind of run into. And I think that's what I'm also going to start doing, to continue putting quiz out there. I put some coding quiz out there. I put some billing quiz out there. What is revenue? Give me a revenue code, things like that. Check out those quiz that I put out there. I think I want you guys to start seeing what coding is, what the medical billing is. And then it won't be such, because a lot of people say, oh, it's too hard. It's not. The way I'm going to teach you, one, we run through what we need to know. Two, now we go step by step. That's what the step by step book is for. And those of you, especially if you're in YTU, um, go to that Kindle. Those books on there, you can use them temporary until you actually get your book. Okay, you can use them temporarily. Now, when you guys are on YTU, I can tell when somebody's on because I can see one, two, three. I know how many is on. But if you don't send me a message, I can't see. If you're in the Sapphire Academy, I can see who is on and we talk from there. If you want to verbally talk, then I'm opening it up and me and you're going to be face to face and we're talking on Teams. So that's a big difference from how I do my online academy rather than CTU or Duke or any of them or whatever have their online academies. It's a little bit different. Uh, I don't judge whose academy is better. I do mine and build it up as much as I can to accommodate you as a student. So again, when I was asked to build this portal, again, I said, how? Are you talking to the wrong person? But as you learn something as you go, you build it and you make it better. So that's why, when you guys join, Sapphire Academy, it's not, you're just by yourself. I follow you throughout. Um, if you get stuck, if you get to the point and you're studying and you say, I can't do it no more, I want you to do it as much as you can and stop. And this is what I mean, like that. When you're studying and you're reading and you're taking it in, and then when you start reading and all of a sudden you stop, hmm, that's when you got to stop because that's when it's not interested to you no more. It's like repetitious. So that's when you're going to stop. And then when you start again tomorrow, then you'll be fresh like how you are when you first start reading. So that's what you call a burnout. So don't burn out. When you're doing your studying, do your 2 hours and you're done. So your 2 hours is your one theory with me, and then your hour after me. When we do class at 6 o'clock, so you guys know I have to change because I'm out of town. So I'll be moving a couple of states for about 3 weeks. I'll be going to different states, and I will not be set. But I will get your chats in. I will get your chats in. Um, so like I said, when you guys are studying, just steadfast for that 1 hour that you have with me at 6 o'clock. Um, that's changed. I'm gonna do that early because I'm out of town. And then you have your practice. Your practice is doing your test and your quiz. I have started to put quiz on YouTube in the posting. So when you guys are going my post, check that out. I have a case that I'm also going to put in there. I'm going to put a small case in there. I don't want to put the bigger cases in there because I don't want you to get confused. I'm trying to turn this around. I don't know if I can drink this or not. I don't know. Um, so that you can see what the cases will be like. Some of you who have not coded before want to see what they are like. That's the book company. They want to see what you guys know. I have books out there. I have 3 books out there, and every time somebody buys a book, you get a flash. Somebody bought your book, but don't sleep on my book. But when you guys go to my website, check out my books. So I don't want you guys to burn out while you are studying. Um, take that 2 hours. If you are home, wonderful. 3. That's all you need, and you only need to do the Monday, the Friday, and the Saturday. You guys know it took me years to actually get on a schedule because my work status is just the hours and everything's just crazy. But now we have sufficient. So I want you guys to do the same. Put yourself on a schedule, and that will be your study. That will be your study time. Um, get your books. Again, you can go to thrift.com. You can go to Elsevier. You can go to AAPC or you can go to Amazon. Catch Amazon. I caught Amazon at 4 o'clock this morning, and I got somebody a Hicks Picks for like $40. And that's when you got to catch Amazon. Wait hours in the morning. And yeah, if I can catch a book for somebody, I'm gonna catch a book for them, for that type of price. Um, Especially, I have students who not able to um, be on and try to catch these prices. I'm up all night, y'all know that, and I can catch some of those prices, and they just cash out funds to me, and I'll send them the book. Or I just buy the book and then they just send it back to me. But again, that's what the dollar thing is for. Like I said, we used to do that in my class, and we do like the dollar thing. And if somebody needed a book, then we would take the funds out the dollar thing and we would get a book and then we would start it all over. It's kind of like a susu thing. So that's what we're trying to get going here. Anything that you guys donate to Sapphire, it goes back into Sapphire. Even if it's $1, that's why I put that up there. And that's the only way that I can think of to help people who can't get books. Um, so that's why when we do the dollar and Tanisha doesn't have a book, at least I can get her a book. Or if this one doesn't have enough to pay for her CPC, then I can pull money from there and help her pay for her CPC. So that's why we used to do. We have the dollar fund to do. But in the coding classes, the first thing that you're going to do is hit those guidelines, uh, because there are questions on the guideline in your CPC. Now, the guidelines, of course, they tell a story. Now, remember, this is not your regular class. We're just kind of chatting. This is not your regular class. I'm going to do your regular coding class too right after this. This is our chatting, and we're talking about the coding class that's getting ready to come about. Um, it's been about a week, so I'm suspecting that you guys have already read your guidelines. Um, my directive was for you guys to read the guidelines at least 3 times before your next chat, because this allows you to be able to hit that book, to hit your guidelines book. And on your CPC, they're going to have questions in regard to your guidelines. They're going to say, where is N3-223? What subject is that? Where is 3245-55? What's, what section is that? You see what I'm saying? So with you practicing your guidelines and you knowing your guidelines, you're going to tab and you're going to flip right to what they say. And B, that's your answer. Boom. You already saved a minute. You get 2 minutes for each question. You already saved a minute. Boom, I know what that is. Boom, I know what that is. Boom, I know what that is. So that's the purpose of you reading the guidelines. Now, when we don't have class Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, um, your CPT book, just turn the page, just look at it. Turn the pages, just look at it. 3 times a week, I want you to do that. Just look at it. Just look at the codes. I guarantee you, you will get used to looking at those codes and you will learn how to code easier because you're going to know where those codes are. First page, just look at it. A&M. We're not doing any coding. We're just looking at the A&M. 3 times a week, I want y'all to do this. So you're in the A&M section and you're just looking at it. You're just looking at it. Every single page of the CPT book you ought to go through. The purpose of the CPC exam is a mastery of coding. You cannot be a master if you do not train yourself as a master. You see what I'm saying? So when you go through your CPT book, you're looking. You're just going from page to page. And if you go in that book and you see 6992, 6993, that looks exactly alike, you're going to highlight one of them. You're going to highlight one of them. Why, Miss Lambert? Because when you're taking your test, I don't want you to get mixed up and choose that wrong code that looks like the other one and is similar to the other one. That you're going to go through each page of your CPT. And that's one of the tricks to get to know your book. In order for you to pass that CPT, you have to know all 3 of those books and a minimal amount of medical billing. That's why your medical billing was only, what was it, 3 weeks? The gusto of what you need to know in coding is medical terminology, ICD-10, CPT, and your HCPCS. Okay? I don't think you'll have a problem with HCPCS. HCPCS is going to be one, two, three. It's durable medical equipment and drugs. I think you got it. Okay, and a couple of little federal things in there, the Medicare stuff. I think you got it. The hardest thing that you're going to do is your CPT book. Your ICD-10, trust me, don't get overwhelmed with looking at those guidelines. You are going to do it. The purpose of me telling you to read the guidelines 3 times is so that you can start retaining what you see. Where is the where is OBGYN? Where is cardio? Where is ortho? When you get to your book, boom, 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 boom. Now, some of you do have the ebook. I have the ebook as well. In the ebook, you cannot use it on your test, but you can use it as a quick reference when you are online if you choose to, especially if you are at work and it's lunchtime and you want to go over your book. Your ebook is what's going to help you do that. When you go home, I want you to use the physical book. When you go home, I want you to use the physical book. So for some of you who do have your ebook and you have your hard copy, use your ebook for work when you're taking a break or when you're at lunch or when you're at the park or something like that. The hard copy is what you're going to use on your exam. And the highlighting that you're going to do as far as the differences of the similar codes will help you to decipher the right code when you are taking your exam. Okay. Now, like I said, you do not have to um, get an ebook. You can just stay with your hard copy, and just, if you want to bring it with you to work, bring it with you to work. Most of my students, y'all have those books at work already. Some of y'all in the billing department, yeah, I would use theirs, no problem. Use theirs, it's not a problem. It's already, already in the budget. When you work at a hospital and you see the books already around, and the books is already in the overhead, so you could still, use those books. And if you need a book, let's say you do work at the hospital, ask your supervisor if she can buy new books. If they buy new books, she can buy an extra one. Because if you work there already and you're a biller, what you're going to say is, I'm going to become a coder. You becoming a coder is benefiting them. So it's not going to kill you to say, listen, boss, can you buy me a book? I had this girl over here, she was at the dentist, and, she directly afraid to ask. I mean, I'm talking to him literally. I'm talking to the doctor literally. I'm like, and I'm telling her before I even spoke to him, I said, why don't you ask him about your book? No, he ain't going to, he will do it. Of course, I'm buttering up. I'm like, you need to, need to get your staff, some books, even though, they're going to school and they're becoming coders for you and so on, so on, so on, so on. She finally, I wasn't going to ask her. She finally asked him with my glasses, don't ask me what's wrong with him. And he said, yeah. He said, okay, I'll get your books. I'll get the books. And guess who paid for her test? He did. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask your boss to buy those books for you, okay? And don't be scared. And you better not be scared. One of the things of a coder, you cannot be afraid of the doctor, because if he puts something down there and you don't understand what he's talking about, you have to query. Query is asking the provider. Query the doctor. When you are unsure, do not guess. Send him an email. Get the nurse to get to him. He must tell you what he's trying to say. And you tell him, okay, I'm sorry, but you can't use that code. We have to use this one. You're going to have providers out there that, Miss Lambert, she changed my code. Okay, so you the coder now. Go on back in there and do your surgeries. This is my part. And no, I keep them away from my coders, so you don't have to worry about that. I don't know who you're going to work for, but I keep them away from my coders because doctors some of them can be brisk, but I don't want you to be afraid of those doctors. Okay, don't be afraid, especially asking them when you're in a doctor's office. A doctor's office, you got to be his right hand. The hospital's kind of big, so you talk about you 1 in 1 million, but in a physician office, if you guys do choose to work for a physician office, the provider is your right hand. And he's going to be like somebody that you think that you just talk to and you see him on the regular street. Forget about him being your boss. You are the one who's getting the money because without the codes, the billers can't bill. You understand what I'm saying? Let's say the biller's got a claim, right? Let's say the biller's got a claim. The claim does not go through edits. It's stopped. If it's a code, she's got to go back and query the coder. I'm getting a flag here. Code is not correct. Outdated code or whatever code. The coder has to fix it before it goes through the edits. Okay, so the billers play an important role. Don't get me wrong, because they have to call insurance companies. They have to identify if there is an error. If they get a remittance back, remittance as in it's the same as a COB, coordination of benefits. Remittance is the electronic one. So if they get a remittance back and it's giving them a flag and they're saying, "Listen, we rejecting this code XYZ," she's got to give it back to the coder anyway. So you guys see how important coding is. The coders are not on site in the hospital. They're more than likely off site or in the home or somewhere. And a physician office, she may be in the business office now with the doctor. Okay, she may be in there. So it's different when a provider has their own facility. You're more close to the doctor because you won't see him. You have to make yourself known. You have to make yourself known to him because you're working for him. Okay, you are responsible for making sure that those codes are correct, even if he's dropping the intake and the codes are on there. Okay, so if the provider is working in the hospital coders are doing the hospital coding. You are doing his billing. Okay, you're doing his coding. We use Teams. I don't know. With some hospitals, they use Zoom. Um, Most of them use Teams, and that's how we interact. In Epic, everybody has their role. The charge entry, charge entry, the charge entry person is the person who gets the intake uh, once the provider has already finished with the patient. If he's not finished with that patient and he does not sign off, you will not get it. It will not populate. Your end day is done. You can't finish. If he doesn't have all his charges in by end month, he's not getting that money. The money won't populate. So we try to stress to make sure that all charges are in. So so when the RN brings you that intake, and let's say you're the charge entry person, the charge entry person, years ago you did not need to have a CPC. Um, Now I have seen some hospitals asking for CPC for charge entry. Some don't. Charge entry is you are merely going into Epic and putting in the charges that's on the intake. You're not changing anything, even if it's wrong. You're not touching nothing. Put it in there. Once that intake goes in there, it's going to roll over to the coder anyway. It's going to go to a whole nother queue and she's going to get it. Okay. Um, Now they're asking for CPC for charge entry, which it only leaves me, like they're allowing them to correct a couple of codes. They're allowing them to look at the E&Ms or the medicine codes, and they're allowing them to check them. I mean, if you've done charge entry for years, you should be used to your provider right now. They should be allowing you to do it. But there's different rules and regulations going on now. They might not be able to touch it. Uh, Years ago, yeah, we used to be able to touch it. I let my girls change whatever. Okay, you think that's it? Especially she's been working with me for years. I would not mistrust her in choosing the right code if Dr. Gaines put the wrong code in there. But now they're asking for CPC. So the charge entry era, where the billers, so the billers can't do that no more. They want the coders to do that. Um, I think it's okay to do that because it will give the charge entry people leeway to move up. If they decide that they want to do straight coding, they would do that. But I just can't imagine a charge entry person who is a CPC wants to do charge entry. That's a billing, really like a billing position. Um, the codes are already there anyway. Same thing with the reports. The codes are already there. When you guys get in there and you see the reports, the provider name will already be up there. The service that he is doing, you'll see some of the HPI of the patient actually in the report. And then he starts talking about what he found, the directives of what he found, and then it'll be his conclusion to what he did in the surgery. Okay, so that's just a FYI on a provider's report. In the Sapphire Academy, there are reports in there just to kind of give you an idea of what a provider report will look like, how you as a coder will code the provider report while you are home. Because I know some people say, well, how we doing when we're home? Then you're going to chime into Epic. And most hospitals now all use Epic, and it is because it is a global. You're out of state. If you're in this state, that state, they can pull you up and they have all your information. So your provider, if you had 10 providers that you have to code for, if you're in a hospital, you might have 10 that you have to code for, but you're going to get them in your queue. You might have A to F. Tina's got F to M or something like that. But at any rate, you are going to get them in your queue and you're going to take it from there. That's why I see, you know, no purpose in the charge entry person having a CPC unless it's just her stepping stone and they know she's going to transfer to the coding, because the billers can do charge entry. And billers, you could do charge entry to get your feet wet, so you can start looking at those codes, getting familiar with those codes, especially if you're going to be in a clinical facility. Um, I used to go to clinical facilities out of state, out of town, or I've driven 3 and 4 hours, and the doctor would put me in a hotel. You see what I'm saying? So, if you want to just do coding for multiple facilities, you don't have to do for one. You can go to whatever facility you want to. Um, Trust me, this was Smoky Mountain OBGYN. I need to call her and see how she's doing. Wonderful doctor. She has an OBGYN. I think I am going to call she OBGYN. And she was about 3 hours away from me. And she just was adamant she wanted me to help her out and change her office. Um, and I did. And I didn't live nowhere near, didn't live anywhere near her. But I had, that was when I was a teacher physically in the school. My boss was so cool. He took over my classes while I went upstate North Carolina to flip they were on IDX and then they were moving over to Athena. And Athena is the uh, go to, I believe, now for physician services other than IDX or Mises Tiger or something like that. Well, some of them still do use eClinic. It's another one that was an old EHR that somebody else used, but they were thinking about changing. And in the Sapphire Academy, like I said, you guys go to sapphirecoding.com and look at the bookstore. You guys will see how to register for Sapphire Academy. You could see in the Sapphire Academy, I have different EHRs in there. I have one as a training EHR for you guys to look at, and I have another training in there so that, especially those of you who have never seen an EHR before, I show them the front end and the back end. So we go around there's 10 cycles of revenue cycle. We go around every single one of them to give you that experience to look at what you're going to be looking at when you get in the hospital. So when you finish this course, everybody gets a certificate. Everybody gets a Sapphire Physician Coding completion certificate. When this coding course is over, if you pass my competencies with at least a 70, then I know that you are ready. My coding comp is 150 questions. It's 150 questions. Why, Miss Lamb? Because I need to know that you have gained expertise during my class. Then you are ready to do your CPC. If you say, well, Miss Lamb, I'm short, I got 200. We're going to find that other $200 from somebody going to help us pay for the rest of your class. Okay. Because it is not cheap. Okay. Somebody going to help us. So if y'all, get to that point, and I got some students that just say, I ain't got it. That's what the dollar's for. That's what the dollar donation is for. That dollar goes into a pot to help you guys get that test. So, when we get to that point and you pass everything I give you, I think you're ready. If you go to AAPC.com, you can literally see what you're getting yourself into. Don't look at their training program. It's 4,000 or something like that. Don't look at their training program. This program is derived from the AAPC program. We at AAPC, we do not charge people that because you are not getting all of those extra things that they give you. They give you extra stuff because they want you to grow. They want you to take more CPCs. They want you to take more certifications. They want you to be up at the top. And I bet you when you finish with this CPC, that's what you're going to do. You're going to end up taking the CPB. You're going to take a HEM. You're going to go on. You're going to take a surgical specialty certification. I'm telling you, because that's how it do. I tell you, could you come in? I have students that come in, and now this is going to be hard. This is going to be hard. And then when they get into this class, it doesn't become hard. It becomes a passion. It becomes a passion. When you start doing something and it becomes your passion, that's how you start mastering it. That's how you master it. It becomes your passion and you start mastering it. That's why I want you guys to make sure you get those books and start. The only thing you can do for yourself is start. Don't worry about the finish. Start. I'm going to make sure you finish. Start. If I have students that start my class in January and for some reason they just wasn't able to finish February, March, April, May, I don't care if she come back in September. There is no other fee. You ready to come, Miss Lambert? I'm ready to come back. Come on, let me get you started again. Let me get you started again. This class does not need secondary registrations or anything like that. The only thing I might need to do is reactivate your email and your portal sign on. That's it. That portal sign on is for you to get in 24 hours a day. If I am not online and you need to get into something, you go on the Sapphire portal and you pick what you want to go through. If you say, I need to go over ICD-10 again, go to the ICD-10 class. In the ICD-10 class, there should be a video in there. There should be a subject as to why you're in this class. There should be a goal in there because I have something in there. I want y'all to set goals. So in the Sapphire portal, there is something in there where you should say what your goal is. Whether you're telling me what your goal is or not, I want to hear what your goal is. Tell me what you want to strive for. So, in the Sapphire portal, there are things in there that's going to assist you that I can't do on YTU, but in the Sapphire Academy, they are there. In the ICD-10 course in the Sapphire Academy, there's a video there. There's your subject matter there. Your tests are there. Your competencies are there. Your summary is also there. Your one-on-ones are there. Your discussion board is there. You can email from there and you get a Sapphire email. There are all directives in there as to what you should be doing. Every single video that I have done on this YouTube, as far as the classes, is in your Sapphire Academy. The other things that I have done, I leave them on YouTube. I don't think YouTube is going anywhere. I think YouTube will be here to stay. I think YouTube is the only platform that I don't worry about to say, oh my God, it's going away. So this is the reason why I love to use YouTube. I had an app. I had a regular app that I paid for, and I made my school modules and everything, and it wasn't even better than YouTube. So why should I waste $200 a month on that? You see, there's always a way to get around something. But again, don't sleep on YouTube. Period. If I don't have answers for you, trust me, somebody else does. If you have a question about something, search engine it. You guys see that psychology psych class that I did? I put it in the post. There were 3 parts to that psych class. Heck, I saw stuff in there that I hadn't even seen before. That's why I'll make sure I put that out there again in the post. Make sure y'all look at it. In case y'all see something in those chats that you go, you know what? I wanted to know that too. That's why I make sure I go through my books, book, page per page. I don't miss none. You guys can see that language of medicine book was over 1,000 pages. And we went through every one of those pages. Why, Miss Lambert? Because that's how you retain when you go through pages and you read what's in there. So if I'm skimming through and we're kind of like getting what we need in the classroom, your hour at home is reading that chapter. Okay. So, and that's the same thing. When we go to class, right now it's 12:08. I think that class is at 12:30. Is it 12:30 or 35? So we'll be finished with this by then. Again, this is just a chit chat. The coding 2 class is going to be right after this. I'm doing chats back to back today because I have to go out in the evening And your 6 o'clock chat, I had to move it up to morning because I'm working out of state. So don't think I'm not going to do the chats. If I do a chat and you miss it, make sure you archive it. Um, we are going to go over two, and I want y'all to ask me some questions about, tell me what's going on at your job. Tell me where you were, if you're in a hospital or if you're at the post office or if you were. Tell me, you want something new, you see something else that you want to do, you want to do something without getting a student loan. And trust me, y'all know I'm like anti-student loan for the medical billing and coding. But this has been around so long. They've all of a sudden made it, available for everybody, even if it's online. We still can go to hospitals and do what we need to do there. Okay, we still can go to hospitals, do what we need to do there because they let you volunteer there. You just can't go in the accounting part where the money is. Okay, you just can't go where there's HIPAA laws in, but you still can go to a hospital and get the feel of working in a hospital. If you volunteer for any hospital, you are part of the hospital. You just don't get paid. So yeah, you would be okay to kind of explore the billing department and XYZ. You just need to get that permission. You need to get that badge, and you need to say, you want to learn XYZ. This is for YTU. Those of you who don't, um, those of you who are home, and those of you who have not gotten access to Sapphire Academy. Okay, and because you guys are online, I have to put you in the right place to show you how to do these different things. So the gist of it is, again, you guys know why I made this program. No student loan, okay? No student loan, okay? That's the purpose of this class. Are there places with student loans? Of course there are. Okay, I'm going to put this ICD-10 book up here. You guys know I have been putting it up here for most of the chats to kind of make sure you have it. I'm going to put this here. And again, our chat, the next chat that we're getting ready to do is going to be the two. I'm just putting the ICD-10 book up here because this is the free book, and this one's going to have your guidelines in it. And all you're going to do, I don't think you can click from here, but you can click from the side. I'm pretty sure I have it below. And I'm just kind of putting this up to kind of give you insight on that free Kindle in there. At least the beginning of it, you can definitely get it. Okay, you can definitely get it. Okay. So what I'm looking for now is a chat that I had put in here for you guys to actually get, which is actually down below. But sometimes you don't feel like doing all that, and sometimes you want to just go to it without looking through all of the description. Even though I have the description down there for you guys. Okay, so this is the Q&A. That's the Q&A, and this is where this is what the book is. The medical billing code and Q&A is actually there. Okay, so you guys can definitely get that from me. I'm just going to put this right here in case you guys want to go to that chat and look at that Q&A book. Okay, and like I said, now you can go to sapphireacademy.com. sapphirecoding.com. Because there's everything there, and this class also, I think I also included the Q&A book. So yeah, the Q&A book is also included with this. That's just right here. I just put that link up there just to kind of show you where it is. um, this is the registration for Sapphire Coding. Sapphire, to get into Sapphire Coding is $400 for the full program. So the full program is $400. When you go to Sapphire Academy, you will see it in there. So if you go to my bookstore and um, click on, I don't know what that is. If you go to my bookstore and click on courses, it will take you to the Sapphire bookstore. You guys can go ahead and do your acquire your tuition right there. And as soon as you get your courses, You, as soon as you pay, it jumps right up. You have access. You have immediate access. Okay, and I will get an email, and then administration will begin to create your intake, and you will get a couple of emails from them, your registration, your invoices, your classes, your schedules, and what we do in the classroom. And you will get your Sapphire email. You must have Microsoft. Okay, so you students need to have Microsoft. Okay, I'm just putting that here. Your Microsoft, all you're going to do is add your email to that Microsoft. So the email that they give you, sometimes you write stuff you just can't get back. Okay, so yes, you need to have, I just put it right there. I'm just keep saying I ain't spelling right, but I know I did. You need to have Microsoft for the teams. When you get the email, and it says whatever your Sapphire email will be is what it's going to be. Go ahead and put that um, underneath your Microsoft. So when you see Microsoft Outlook, and you're going to say add account. When you get your add account, put your Sapphire email in there, and that's going to give you access to the Sapphire portal. I'm going to send you a password. You change that password to what you want, and that's how you're going to get into the Sapphire portal. No, I'm not pulling up the Sapphire portal right now. This is not a regular class. I'll pull it up in the next class that we get ready to do. So this class, we're going to do this class until probably about 2:30. There's another class going to start at 1:30, but this is going to be 12:30, and I'm going to repetitiously come right behind it and do your class too. I do want you to have your books, okay? Um, I wasn't going to kind of go over, which I'm still not, but I still want you guys to have your ICD 10. And I'm going to share my screen right now just to kind of show you that ICD 10 book that we're talking about that we actually get from Kindle. Okay. And because this is the book that you should have. When we start that class, this is the book that you should have. It's this one. Okay. And this is actually, you can pretty much download that. Okay, so as soon as you see where it says shared, is I actually shared it already, but when you get in there you'll see it. Okay, you can do your all of your books, you can do like that. They have this in the Kindle portion, and it's like a sample, but you get to keep it. You can open it as many times as you want to. I mean, if you choose to buy it, that's fine. That's fine. You can choose to buy it, but this is the book. Like I said, this is what we're working in. And on Kindle, they got the sample in there that take you to a lot of sections. And like I said, you can use this before you actually get your book. You can use this before you actually get your book. We are on the guidelines for your homework. You guys should be finished with the guidelines, okay? Um, Yeah, you have to. I recommend you read them at least 3 times, at least three times. Okay, because that's gonna get you to. I don't know what that is. It's gonna get you to retain your work. That's how you retain your work. You just do it over and over, and don't forget your index cards. The index cards are going to help you to study. Okay, the index cards are going to help you to study. So, again, I recommend you guys register for the Sapphire Academy because, again, you still work on your own. You still work on your own. Now, there's a lot more added to the course, even with the other one that I was giving you for the 59. Um, this course has 21 subjects in it, and that's what the $400 is for. It's 21 subjects and everything you need to pass in this classroom. You need to look at the chats on YouTube. When you look at the chats on YouTube, you should have your books in front of you. You should have your notebook and take notes, just like you're in a regular classroom. I don't have to micromanage you. You know your goal. You know what you want to do. Um, uh, it takes time to learn a different trade. It takes you to say, yes, this is what I want to do. And there are a lot of times, we do stuff, or we want to do stuff, and we don't actually quite do it. Um, Nothing's wrong with that. It just means, oh, I may want to start at another time, but don't don't get yourself to the point where you just did not conquer what you want to do. Okay, don't do that. Uh, I have Facebook that you can go on and discussion board me. Instagram, you can discussion board me. Twitter, discussion board, whatnots, whatever discussion boards you want to use, and you need to talk about what you want to do in education, you can always ask me. Or if you need any advice on anything, you can always ask me. But this class that we're getting ready to do right now, I'm ready to come out because I got to come back on at 12:30. That we're getting ready to do. Make sure you guys have your ICD-10 book. I just put it up there. Make sure this is the book you need for the class that we're getting ready to do. Okay, this is the book you need for the class that we're getting ready to do. That class is going to be early. So remember, um, your 6 o'clock classes is temporarily moved. I'm putting this here. Your 6 p.m. classes are temporarily moved to, I ain't giving y'all a definite time, but I'm definitely going to put 11 o'clock there. Tomorrow, no, because I have to go out early tomorrow, but I don't want you guys to be looking for me at 6 o'clock. But I do want you to archive the class. So only for this time, only while I'm out of town, I'm going to do this because in the evening is when I'm doing most of my meetings and my training, physical. I'm in the hospital physical, so I'm not able to do later on. So yeah, we're gonna have to sign off. I'll be back in about 10 minutes. We're going to go ahead and do the coding class. That's the book that you need, and I'll see you guys in a few minutes.